I hadn't even put the key in the ignition yet, but Rock and Roll Hoochie Koo was already playing. Loud. Not on my phone. Not on the dash. Not from outside. It was coming straight from the truck speakers, even though the engine was cold and the radio was dead. Dead. Has been for 6 months. Fuse blew on a job site outside Beaumont. Never fixed it. No power. No lights. Nothing. So I just sat there in the cab, staring at the empty dash, frozen. The sun was setting behind the pumps, and Wes was still inside the truck stop grabbing jerky and smoke. I thought maybe I was going nuts. Maybe I'd finally snapped from too much highway and not enough sleep. I was about to reach for the dial out of pure instinct, because how else do you shut it off, when I realized there was no dial. I'd pulled the faceplate off months ago when it started sparking. It was sitting in a box in my garage back in Galveston. No dial. No stereo. No explanation. But Rick Derringer? Still playing. Rock and Roll Hoochie Koo, he sang, all swagger and soul. Lawdy mama, light my fuse. The speakers crackled as if they were being pushed too hard, but the battery wasn't even connected. And the second verse came on like it had never left. That's when Wes yanked open the passenger door, threw the snacks on the floor, and stopped halfway into the seat. You hearing that? I nodded slowly. He squinted at the dash, then reached forward to turn it off, same instinct I'd had, but there was nothing to touch. Just a black hole where the stereo should have been. I thought this thing was fried. It is. We both sat there for a second. Rick hit the chorus again. I swear he was getting louder. Wes looked at me. Then he shut the door and said, F***ck it. Let's drive. We left the lights of the town behind us before the sun even fully dropped. Just a wash of fading pink in the rearview mirror and the endless blue-black sky swallowing everything in front of us. Highway 285, our favorite bad decision. No traffic. No signs. Just desert brush, radio silence, and oil rig skeletons marching across the horizon. Except now we had music. And it wouldn't stop. Every few minutes Wes would try turning it off. He'd reach toward the blank space on the dash like the knobs had magically come back, and then curse under his breath when they didn't. After the third try, he smacked the dash hard enough to rattle my fillings. Still stuck on repeat? Yup, I said. Same track. Yup. He rubbed his eyes, leaned back, and muttered, You ever notice how that song sounds way cooler when you choose to hear it? We both laughed, but it was nervous. Tired. We were supposed to be heading to New Mexico, some remote town where Wes had a guy who knew a guy who could help him settle something. I never got the full details. He kept saying it wasn't illegal, just necessary. That's how things always were with Wes. I didn't ask questions. I just drove. Because that's what I do. I drive. I'm the wheelman. Always have been. Wes talks. I keep us moving. But that song. That damn song kept bleeding through the cabin, like it wasn't playing from the speakers at all. Like it was humming inside the metal bones of the truck itself. At one point, around mile marker 113, it actually changed. Only for a second. The vocals dipped, like the tape warped. The words slurred. Then the beat skipped a half count, and Rick Derringer laughed. But it wasn't part of the original track. This laugh was raw. Closed. Like he was sitting between us in the cab and had just thought of something very funny. Wes turned to me. Did he just laugh? I finished. Yeah. I said nothing. Because I'd just noticed something else. The odometer had stopped. Frozen. Stuck at 66,666 miles. I hadn't looked at it when we left the gas station, but now it was taunting me. And Rick just kept on playing. Rock and Roll Hoochie Koo. The next time we saw lights, we pulled in. We didn't even speak. Just one of those silent agreements you make after riding too long with something wrong in the air. The song had started to fade, not off, just duller. Like we'd driven away from the source, but it was still tracking us. The sign said Lucinda's, glowing green letters above a flat-roofed truck stop that looked stitched into the desert. No brand. No other cars. Wes muttered, "That's not on the map." We rolled into the lot, gravel crunching under the tires. The lights were too bright. They buzzed like they hadn't been turned off in years. The place felt fake, like a movie set that forgot what movie it belonged to. I killed the ignition. The song didn't. Still playing. Faint. Like someone whispering it through a tin can. We stepped inside, hoping for some caffeine, a reset, maybe just a normal moment. What we got was wrong. No one looked up. 4 people stood around the aisles, 2 at the drink coolers, 1 at a wire rack of sunglasses, 1 behind the counter. All of them facing down. Frozen. Not moving. Not blinking. Wes reached for a bottle of water. As soon as his hand touched it, the chorus kicked in again. Louder. Clearer. Like a needle dropping on a turntable in his pocket. I looked at the cashier. She still hadn't moved. Then I noticed. Her eyes were open. Wide. Unblinking. Looking down, but open. I whispered, "Wes." He turned. I nodded toward the door. We walked out, slowly. Didn't run. Didn't speak. Back in the truck, I turned the key just to feel something mechanical. It turned over. The lights came on. But the stereo? Still dead. Still playing. We pulled out fast. And passed the same truck stop 10 minutes later. At first, we thought we were wrong. We hadn't been paying attention. Maybe the road curve. Maybe the exit signs were similar. Maybe all truck stops in Texas just looked like a curse. But then we saw the name again. Lucinda's. Same green letters. Same slumped figures inside. And the same damn part of the song playing. Sometimes I wonder what I'm gonna do. Wes slammed his fist on the dash. We turned west. We haven't doubled back. You saw the sun. I nodded. That's the same place. He hit the window with the side of his hand. What the hell is happening? I looked at the GPS on my phone. Blank screen. Then it flashed once, just once, and showed a red dot circling. Around and around. No direction. No roads. Just the number. 285.285.285.285.285. I turned it off. Then the music skipped again. Same chorus, but this time the drums stuttered. The vocals warped. And I swear to God, Rick Derringer sang my name. Not the whole line, just slipped it in like a glitch. I looked at Wes. He heard it too. He said, "Okay. This isn't radio." I nodded. He added, "It's not even a song anymore." That's when the headlights behind us appeared. Close. Too close. No engine sound. No high beams. Just 2 soft yellow orbs riding our back bumper like a shadow. Wes turned around. The lights blinked off. Gone. Just us and the dark and Rick's voice humming, louder now, angrier. The truck vibrated with it. I pressed harder on the gas. And the odometer? Still stuck at 66,666. We were maybe 2 hours past the second Lucinda's, or maybe it was the third, I'd lost count, when the song finally broke. Not skipped. Not warped. It changed. It happened during the chorus. Right when I was bracing for the usual blast of Lottie Mama, light my fuse, Rick's voice dipped. Dropped half an octave. Then slurred. Then laughed. But not like before. This wasn't amused or cocky. It was wet. Breathless. Like it had been recorded in a bathroom after something bad happened. Then, he sang my name again. But clearly this time. "Danny boy, gonna lose that fuse." I slammed the brakes. Gravel sprayed. Wes hit the dash with a grunt. "What the hell, man?" I threw the truck in park. My hands were shaking on the wheel. I stared straight ahead. The desert was still. Stars above like they didn't care. Rick Derringer still crooning, now soft and slow, like a lullaby. He said my name, I muttered. Wes didn't argue. He didn't laugh. He just opened the door and stepped out into the dark. I followed. We stood under the moonlight, truck lights off, song still faint through the chassis. Wes pulled a flask from his back pocket, took a swig and said, "Okay. So this ain't normal." I nodded. He added, which means we're not gonna fix it by driving farther. Then what do we do? Before he could answer, we saw headlights coming toward us from the horizon. Not fast. Not swerving. Just calm. Wes whispered, please don't be us. It wasn't us. It was a Buick LeSabre. 90s model. Champagne paint and white wall tires, looking clean enough to be unsettling. It pulled up slow and stopped beside us. Driver's window rolled down with a whir that sounded too smooth for the age of the car. A woman sat behind the wheel. Late 60s, maybe older. White blouse buttoned to the collar. Thick glasses that caught every light and turned her eyes to silver coins. Her voice was too cheerful. You boys need a ride? I didn't speak. Wes did. Truck's fine. Just stretching our legs. The woman looked at the truck, then at us, then back at the road. Funny how this stretch makes your legs feel longer than they are. Come on, hop in. You'll get where you're going faster this way. That's when the man leaned forward from the passenger side. We hadn't even seen him until then. He was smiling, but his mouth didn't move right. It was too stiff, like someone trying to mimic a human expression they'd only ever seen in a painting. He added, music sounds better with company. That's when I noticed it. Their car didn't make a sound. No engine hum. No tire crunch on gravel. Just the hum of that damn song still playing from our truck, until it wasn't. Suddenly, it was in their car now. Same volume. Same verse. Like it had shifted tracks. Wes and I looked at each other. Said nothing. But we got in the back seat. Because we already knew. It didn't matter anymore what we chose. The back seat smelled like lemon and dust. Like something had been preserved here. Not cleaned, sealed. The Buick glided like it was barely touching the road. I glanced at the speedometer. 55 exactly. Never changed. I looked again 10 minutes later. Still 55. Wes sat stiff, eyes locked forward. He hadn't spoken since we got in. Where are y'all headed? The woman asked brightly, hands at 10 and 2. Wes said nothing. I cleared my throat. New Mexico. Oh good, she said. You're almost there. I glanced out the window. Just black field. Not even a cactus. Not even a star. You two been through here before? She added. I hesitated. No. First time. She nodded like that was funny. Then the man in the passenger seat said, Are you sure? I looked at Wes. He wouldn't turn around. Why would I not be sure? The man smiled. Because the road remembers. That's when I noticed it. The photo in the map pocket in front of me. Faded Polaroid. Curled edges. A picture of two young men. Me and Wes. Standing in front of Lucinda's. Same clothes. Same truck behind us. I yanked it out and shoved it in Wes's lap. He stared at it. And whispered, What the F*** is this? The couple said nothing. The tape started skipping again. Not the truck's radio. The Buick's. Same song. Same verse. And suddenly, it wasn't a song anymore. It was instructions. I leaned forward, looking at the dash. No touchscreen. No digital anything. Just a pristine wood grain panel and chrome knobs. But right there in the center was a tape deck. No buttons. No eject. No play, rewind, fast forward. Just a slot. Except, it wasn't a slot. It was sealed shut. Like it had been glued closed. But I could hear the tape spinning behind it. Wes leaned forward too. What are we listening to? The woman said, Rick Derringer. You like him? Wes shook his head. It's not Rick anymore. The man in the passenger seat smiled wider. You're catching on. I tried the door handle. Locked. Same with Wes's. I tapped the window. No sound. Like it was a painted surface instead of glass. The woman said, You boys aren't the first. She didn't sound threatening. She sounded relieved. Like we were doing her a favor. Sometimes, she continued, someone makes it out. They walk far enough. Or they jump early. But most, the man added, most ride the loop. I whispered, What loop? The The woman looked into the rearview mirror. Her eyes caught mine. You'll see. The headlights turned red. Just for a second. And the road ahead lit up, not with light, but with memory. We were driving toward the gas station again. Only this time, the sign read, "Welcome back. Guests 108 and 109. The first exit sign appeared like it had been dropped in from another highway. Bright blue. Big white letters. But no lights, no overpass, no ramp. Just a sign floating in the night above packed gravel. Exit 0, rest easy. Wes read it aloud and said, "The hell does exit 0 mean?" The couple didn't answer. Another 5 minutes passed. Same speed, same hum, same damn song running quietly like in 4 drip through our heads, and then we saw another one. Exit 0, rest easy. Same sign. Same wording. No ramp. No shoulder. Just a dirt ditch on either side. I leaned forward. "You missed the exit." The woman smiled, eyes still on the road. "They're not for us." Wes tried the window crank. Nothing moved. I said, "Let us out." The man turned, just slightly. "You jumped already. That's why you're back." "What?" He tapped the seat. "You don't remember. You're not supposed to." That's when Wes lost it. He started pounding the door, kicking the seat. "Let us out, goddammit." The car didn't stop. It didn't even shake. Another sign. Exit 0, rest easy. Another 5 minutes. And then, something new. A figure standing by the shoulder, backlit by our headlights. A man. Thumb out. Head down. Just standing there. And we were slowing down. The woman said, "Oh good. We're picking him up." I blacked out right then. Not like sleep. Not like panic. Just gone. 1 second I was in the back of the Buick, white-knuckled and cold-sweating, staring at the hitchhiker through the windshield. Next, I'm in the passenger seat of my truck. Middle of the highway. Night air humming. Engine rumbling like I never left it. And Wes? Wes is gone. No sign of the Buick. No couple. No tape deck. Just my truck, keys in the ignition, wheels still rolling slow. I sat up straight. Looked around. Nothing but blackness in every direction. Then, from the CB radio, which I haven't used in years, comes a static burst. Then a voice. My voice. "Take the next left," it said. "The diner's got good pie." I ripped the CB mic out of its cradle. Unplugged it. Static died. Then the music came back. Full volume. Middle of the guitar solo. But not from the speakers. From under the dash. Like it was built into the truck itself. Woven through the frame. Vibrating in the bones of the steel. I slammed the brakes. The truck screeched to a halt on the empty road. I got out. Looked around. Nothing but scrubland. Until I saw it. Up ahead, maybe 100 yards. A glowing red shell station. And above the door, freshly painted. Lucinda's. I turned to look behind me. The road was gone. Just black dirt and fog. And a voice behind me, Wes's voice, said, "You brought us back." I turned. And no one was there. I was shaking when I climbed back into the truck. Door creaked shut like it was swallowing me. The music quieted the second I sat, still there, but faint like it was waiting. I slammed it into park. Dug through the glove box for anything. Matches. Receipt. Spare fuses. Nothing. Then I found the road map. Paper thin. Folded like an origami secret. Texas in full, marked with red lines from another time. But when I opened it, something bled through. The map had changed. Right before my eyes, a line traced itself west, curling across I-10, then looping onto 285 like a snake chasing its tail. Handwritten in red ink along the route were notes. Don't stop at the third town. Don't speak during the solo. Don't look at him. No signature. Just a small arrow pointing to a town that wasn't there anymore, just a smudge on the paper. I held it in the beam of the overhead light. It flickered like it wanted to go out. The cassette in the dash made a click sound. I didn't even have a tape deck. I turned the key, slowly. The truck started. The song skipped again. But this time, the vocals weren't Rick Derringer. They were mine. A raspy version of my voice, singing distorted lyrics. Danny boy, lost the fuse. Danny boy, light the loop. I dropped the map. It kept unfolding on the floor by itself, drawing me in. I reached down, unplugged the CB completely this time, yanked the wires out of the dash. Didn't matter. It hissed back to life a second later. Crackling. Popping. Then. Breaker 19, this is Lucifer Bass. You hearing us, Danny? I froze. The voice was rough. Gravelly. Almost mechanical. I picked up the mic, instinct again. Who is this? You know who. I didn't. Where's my brother? I barked. Pause. Then the voice said. Which one? Static burst loud. Then a different voice came on, lighter, smoother. Don't listen to him, it said. You can still jump. But you gotta do it before the next loop. Otherwise you're gonna burn right through. I shouted, what does that mean? What loop? No answer. Then the first voice returned. Don't worry, Danny. We got Wes. He's good radio now. I threw the mic across the cab. The truck sputtered, once, then drove itself forward half a foot. I didn't touch the pedal. The wheel turned 1 inch to the left. I turned off the ignition. Nothing happened. Truck kept humming. CB crackled again. This time, my voice. Repeating a phrase like a nursery rhyme. Take the next left. The diner's got good pie. Take the next left. The diner's got good pie. The lights on the dash turned red. The rearview mirror fogged. I wiped it with my sleeve. One word was drawn in the condensation. Stay. And the map on the floor lit up from underneath. The path was glowing, leading back to Lucinda's. It's hard to explain how I saw myself, because I wasn't asleep, wasn't dreaming. I was in the truck, hands on the wheel. The road still dead straight in front of me. But out of nowhere, headlights appeared behind me. Then passed. Same year. Same model. Same rusted fender. Same missing side mirror. And then I looked in the driver's window as it pulled alongside. It was me. Mouth open in mid-yell. Shirt soaked in sweat. One hand holding the CB mic like a lifeline. Eyes darting like he was being hunted. Not past tense. Present tense. He was me now, just somewhere else. I shouted. Slammed the brakes. But the other truck kept rolling forward, Rick Derringer still blasting from it, louder than my own speakers, louder than anything I'd ever heard. I stuck my head out the window and screamed, "Hey!" The driver, me, jerked his head toward me. Locked eyes. Then swerved off the road. I watched the truck flip once, twice, and vanish into the desert dust. Silence followed. And then my radio started playing the same crash sounds I'd just witnessed. Metal twisting. Tires squealing. But no vocals. Until I heard Wes's voice. You were too late. I drove in silence for what felt like hours. No music. No CB chatter. Just the hum of the road and the low click of the map as it curled tighter and tighter at my feet. Then, out of the dark, lights appeared. One more time. Lucinda's. Same green neon. Same dusty pumps. Same flickering restrooms around back sign. Only this time, it looked new. No rust on the pump. No cracked concrete. No bugs on the bulbs. Like it had just opened that morning. I pulled in, heart pounding. But when I stepped out, there was no music. No humming from the truck. No wind. Just silence so thick I could hear my own thoughts rattling. The front door stood open. And taped to the glass was a handwritten note. One last refill before the next ride. I stepped inside. There were no people. No cashier. No truckers. No soda machines or chip rack. Just a mirror against the back wall, where the coolers should have been. A full-length mirror. And in it, I wasn't alone. Wes stood behind me in the reflection. Eyes wide. Pale. Lips moving soundlessly. But when I turned around, no one was there. I touched the mirror. Cold. It rippled. Then I heard the music again, starting not from the truck, but from inside the glass. The first notes of rock and roll, Hoochie Koo. Like the next loop had already begun. I ran out of Lucinda's. Didn't remember choosing to. My boots hit gravel like I'd been shoved from behind. The truck sat humming at the pumps, doors shut, engine idling, lights off, waiting. The music still played, but now it sounded smaller. Like it was coming from under the hood, or maybe from somewhere below the truck entirely. The rearview mirror was fogged again. This time I didn't wipe it. I got in, shut the door, gripped the wheel until my knuckles turned white, and drove. The map lay open on the passenger seat again. Only now it was marked with a single destination, Exit 0. But it was circled in ink. Twice. And beneath the circle was a note in handwriting that didn't look like mine, but I knew it was. This is your last turn. I didn't know what would happen if I ignored it, but I knew what happened if I didn't. So when the sign appeared, rusted and crooked and flickering in headlights, I didn't question it. Exit 0, rest easy. Only this time there was a ramp. Gravel, not pavement. It spiraled down, not off. And there was no bottom in sight. I took it anyway. The radio grew louder with every turn. Until it wasn't Rick Derringer anymore. It was Wes, screaming for me to stop. At the bottom of the spiral ramp there was no road. Just a clearing. Like a crater cut from the scrubland. Pale dirt. Black sky. In the center, a diner. Neon buzzing. The same Lucinda's sign now lit in blue. I parked. The song cut out mid-note. Dead silence. I stepped out, heart in my throat. The front door of the diner was open, but no sound came from inside. I crossed the dirt slowly. My reflection waited for me in the window. But not just my reflection. Wes stood beside me again, in the glass. Still pale. Still moving his lips. I pressed my forehead to the door. And I heard it. One final phrase. From me. From the reflection. You can leave. But I have to stay. Then the door opened. No hand pushed it. No wind moved it. I looked down. On the floor of the diner was a cassette tape. Cracked open. Still spooling. On the label, in faded black marker. Ride 109 Wes and Danny. I turned around. The truck was gone. A new one sat in its place. Same make. Same model. But the paint was perfect. The seats? Untouched. And the stereo? Brand new. Ready to play. I didn't see Wes again. But as I got in, the speakers came alive. Danny boy, light the fuse. And Rick Derringer laughed. I didn't mean to stop. 1 minute the road was empty. The next, there he was. Standing dead center in my high beams, like he'd stepped out of the fog itself. Thumb up. Head bowed. No bag. No shoes. Just a sun-bleached denim jacket with sleeves torn at the elbows and a pair of jeans too clean to belong to this stretch of desert. I slowed. Didn't press the brake. Just eased into stillness like the truck had made the decision for me. That's when I noticed. He didn't cast a shadow. Not behind. Not to the side. Not even when I blinked and looked again. I reached for the lock instinctively, but it was already down. Then he lifted his head. It was Wes. Eyes hollow. Lips blue. Cheeks stitched in a line that didn't belong to any surgery I knew. He walked toward the passenger side and knocked once. 2 fingers, light as static. I didn't roll down the window. He leaned in close, and through the glass I heard him say, "You left me at exit 0. I closed my eyes. You took my seat." A tear slid down my cheek. Then he said, "It's okay. I've got yours now." I looked up, and my reflection in the rearview was smiling, but I wasn't. The miles had stopped counting up a long time ago. I'd started to notice it when I passed the same broken billboard 3 times in 10 minutes. Same faded promise of barbecue and cold beer in a town I'd never reach. But now? The mile markers were going backward. Started at 85, then 84, then 83. Each one darker, older, leaning more than the last. The truck didn't respond to the wheel anymore. I could nudge it, influence the ride slightly, but the highway had taken over. Somewhere around mile marker 77, the CB clicked on again. But no voice this time. just breathing. Mine. Then the mic whispered, "If you jump, someone has to take your seat." I yelled, "What seat?" The voice replied, "Drive long enough and you become the music." I tried shutting the radio off, but there wasn't one. Tried kicking out the door, but it stayed sealed. The mirror showed Wes again, behind me now. Always behind. And in my lap, the map started folding itself shut. The red circle at exit 0 vanished. In its place, a black dot labeled Last Play. I looked down at the tape deck. There wasn't one. But the ribbon was spooling again. This time right into my chest. The sky cracked open at mile marker 50. No lightning. No thunder. Just a seam, like someone peeled back a layer of painted canvas and revealed the real world underneath. And up there? Lucinda's. Suspended above the desert like a floating diner on stilts, glowing red and green like a Christmas ornament no one ever wanted. I stopped the truck. Didn't remember braking. Didn't feel the tires skid. 1 second I was driving. The next, I was parked in the dead center of the two-lane highway, staring up at a diner in the sky. The radio fuzzed, cleared. Rick's voice returned, clean, unbroken, not warped or stretched. Rock and roll, Hoochie Koo, just like it had started. But this time? I heard cheering in the background. Voices clapping, laughing, crying. Like a live audience tuned into my breakdown. That's when a spotlight from the floating Lucindas cut through the sky and landed on my truck. And I could see into the diner now. Through the windows. Every single booth was full. And they were all looking down. At me. Wes was there. The couple from the Buick. The hitchhiker. Me. Every version of me I'd been along this road. Every loop, every mile, every lost turn. And they were smiling. And waving. Like this was a show and I was just the next episode. The truck radio clicked. Not played. Clicked. Like a record needle falling. The display lit up. Not a station, but a number. TRK 110. No such thing. No album that long. The tape ribbon slithered back into the dash on its own. The wheel turned. The engine revved. I wasn't driving anymore. I was being driven. The road tilted up, like it was rising to meet the diner above. And I realized what it meant. Lucinda's wasn't just a place. It was a receiver. A repeater. A loop. Everyone who heard the song and didn't leave in time, everyone who listened too long, became part of the track. Wes didn't disappear. He joined. Like a verse, a riff, a fading guitar solo echoing between time. I felt it. The pull. The weight of the speakers vibrating through my ribs. And the voice, Rick's voice, said, "Welcome to track 110, Danny boy. You'll fade in on the third chorus." And I did.